Assalamu alaikum friends. I am Mumin Majeed and I welcome you all to my channel Mathematical Institute of Learning. Okay. Till now we had discussed about the relations and the functions and domain and range of a function. Now in this lecture I want to uh, discuss about the domain of function. We'll see here different types of questions and we'll try to find the domain of a function. And after this lecture, you'll be able to solve any question, any function for its domain. Okay. Now, we have two rules for finding the domain. Okay. These are very simple rules. Okay. One rule is that if you have expression under even root, if you have an even root, what do we mean by even root? That is second power, square power, square root, fourth power of root, sixth power of root, that's even roots, eighth power of root. Okay, so these expression which is under that even root, that should be greater or equal to 0. Why? In order that the function is defined, in order that the function is real, we need that the expression under the even root should be greater or equal to 0. Like if we see an example, this example 1, if we have a function f of x is equal to under root of x square minus 4x plus 2. Here, in order that this function is defined, this x square minus 4x plus 2 should be greater or equal to 0. Okay. Now, second rule is that denominator of a function cannot be equal to 0, because if denominator is equal to 0, the function becomes not defined. Okay. As you can see, if I have a function x square minus 4x plus 2 divided by x square minus 3, this x square minus 3 cannot be equal to 0. Well, it should not be equal to 0. Why? Because if it is 0, then the function becomes not defined. Now let us discuss some questions. So first of all, I will discuss a question. So question is, find the domain of the function f of x is equal to under root of x square minus 25x plus 144. Okay. Okay. Now solution. Okay. You will follow these steps in each and every question. Okay. Now this is a expression. This is the expression under the square root. And I discussed the rule that this expression should be greater or equal to 0. That means this x square minus 25x plus 144 should be greater or equal to 0. It should be greater or equal to 0. It can't be less than 0. Let us see when it is equal to 0. Then what happens is that x square minus 25x plus 144, it is equal to 0. Let us find the roots and you will solve. When you will solve this, you will find two roots, x minus 9 and x minus 16. Okay, there are two factors to this equation. So one is x minus 9 and one is x minus 16. Next, so this gives me x is equal to 9 and this gives me x is equal to 16. Another step is to plot these 2 points on a number line. So this is my 9. So here I will get my 16. So this is the minus infinity point. This is the plus infinity point. Okay. So I am getting 3 regions. My number line is divided into 3 regions. This is one and this is another. This is another. Now let us check the signs. Okay, let us check the signs of this function. You know, this negative sign is not valid. Why? Because it should be greater or equal to 0. It means it should be positive. And where the positive, this function is positive, this expression is positive, we'll write here positive. Okay, let us check in between these two. Let's check for 9 and 16 in between of the two. So in between of the two, let's suppose I will take 10. Okay, let us suppose I am putting 10 in this. So I will get 10 square minus 25 into 10 plus 144. And I will get 100 minus 250 plus 144. And I will get minus 150 plus I suppose I will get minus 150 plus 144, and I will get minus 6, which is less than 0. That is, it is negative. It means in this region I have a negative sign. Okay, let us check for the 9. Can I take 9 as the domain? Let us check it. When I put x is equal to 9, it is obvious that when I put x is equal to 9, I will get the value here 0, which is valid. It means I can take the x is equal to 9. Can I take x is equal to 16? Yes, because when I put x is equal to 16, this is becomes 0, so therefore I can take. Now let us check for these 2 points. Let us suppose I will take x is equal to 0. So at x is equal to 0, what will I get? 0 square minus 25 into 0 plus 144 is greater or equal to 0. Sorry, I will get 144, which is greater than 0. It means here the sign is positive. Now 16, अगर मैं 16 से ज्यादा कोई नंबर लूंगा, लेट सपोज आपको कोई भी नंबर आप लोगे ना, लेट सपोज अगर आप लोगे x is equal to, let's suppose 17, okay, and you will find this will be greater than 0, it will be positive, so I will get positive here. So what will be my domain? Domain can be anything, it can be anything, but it cannot be between 9 and 16. It can be from minus infinity to 9 and 16 to infinity, but it cannot be between the 9 and 16. Why? Because if you put x is equal to 9 to 16 in between, then you will get negative value of this function, which is not valid. Okay, so we will get the domain then. First of all, minus infinity to 9, but 9 is included, so I write it. Next, I union it with 16 to infinity. So this is the domain of the given function. Now there is a second question. I'm erasing it. Okay. Now next question is that under root of x square minus 5x plus 6. X square minus 5x plus 6. Okay, I know for this function to be defined, so my x square minus 5x plus 6 should be greater or equal to 0. Okay. Then I will find the roots of this equation. I will get x square minus 3x, and when I will write when x square minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Now I will find the roots of this equation, similar to the question number 1 which I taught you. So I will get x square minus 3x minus 2x plus 6 is equal to 0. Then I will get x into x minus 3 minus 2 into x minus 3 is equal to 0. And I will get x minus 2 into x minus 3 is equal to 0. Next I plot these 2 points on the number line. Therefore I will create three regions in the number line. This is plus infinity, this is minus infinity. Now is 2 and 3, can I take them? Yes, I can take them, because when I take x is equal to 2 and x is equal to 3, this expression becomes 0, which is valid. So let us find in between. In between is 2.5. So let's suppose I will take 2.5, that is 5 by 2. So x square, and I will get at x is equal to 5 by 2 is actually your 2.5. So I will get 5 by 2 square minus 5 into 5 by 2 plus 6 is equal to 0. Now it will be 25 by 4 minus 25 by 2 plus 6. You don't have to put it 0, we have to check it. So we will take the LCM 4, that is 25 minus 4 by 2 is 220, it is 50 plus it will be 24, and it will come out to be minus 25 plus 24 divided by 4. It will come out to be minus 1 by 4, which is negative. So it means in the between region it is negative. And when you put x is equal to 0, and you will find this will be positive. So this will be positive. Again, if you find x is equal to greater than 3, you will also find it positive. Therefore the domain will be minus infinity to 2 union 3 to infinity. Okay. Now let's do another question. I have a question. F of x is equal to x square minus 4 divided by x minus 2. X square minus 4 divided by x minus 2. Okay, we have to find the domain. So its solution is easy. Why? Because for f of x to be defined, I told you that denominator should not be equal to 0. It means x minus 2 should not be equal to 0. What does this mean? X should not be equal to 2. It means domain actually is nothing but the possible values of x. It means domain is all values of x. That means all real values, but without this 2 value. Okay. Next, I will discuss another question. It is you have a function f of x is equal to 1 by 1 minus x square, and you have to find the domain. And for f of x to be defined, 1 minus x square is also should not be equal to 0. Let us see if it is equal to 0. When 1 minus x square is equal to 0, then implies x square is equal to 1. It means x is equal to plus minus 1. It means that whenever you put x is equal to 1, it will become 0, and whenever you put x is equal to minus 1, it will become 0. Therefore x has any value but without these two. Therefore domain is nothing but r minus 1 comma 1. Okay. Next, let's suppose I have another question. F of x is equal to under root of x minus 1. So for this function to be defined, x minus 1 should be greater than 0. It means x should be greater than 1. If I interchange this, if I transpose this minus 1 to the left hand side, I will get x is greater than 1. It means x should not be equal to 1. X should be greater than 1. This is the domain. So it means domain is nothing but 1 to infinity excluding 1. Okay. Then we have another question. Let us erase the board first. We have another question. F of x is equal to under root of 3x minus 5. So it is very simple. So for f of x to be defined, 3x minus 5 should be greater or equal to 0. It means 3x should be greater or equal to 5. That means x should be greater or equal to 5 by 3. What does this mean? This means domain is nothing but with included bracket 5 by 3 comma infinity, because it is greater than 5 by 3. It goes on infinity. So another question I will discuss here is, we have a question. F of x is given that 5 divided by x minus 3. So for this function to be defined, x minus 3 should not be equal to 0. That means x should not be equal to 3. So therefore domain is all real numbers but without this 3 number. Okay. Next I will discuss the function f of x is equal to x square minus 36 divided by x plus 6. For f of x to be defined, x plus 6 should not be equal to 0. That means x should not be equal to minus 6. It means domain can be anything. Domain can be all real numbers but without this minus 6. Okay. Now this is important question now. There is a question. F of x is equal to under root of x square minus 25. So for this function to be defined, clearly x square minus 25 should be greater or equal to 0. Okay. And when it is equal to 0, then x square is equal to 25, which means x is equal to plus minus 5. Next, I told you that we will draw these 2 points on the number line. So I will get 3 regions. These are the 3 regions. Let us check them one by one. Let us check for their signs. When we put plus minus 5, it becomes 0. That means we have to take these points. Now what about the 0? When we put x is equal to 0, 0 square minus 25, it will become negative. It means it is negative. And when you put minus 5 less than minus 5, that means minus 6. So minus 6 square is 36. 36 minus 25 is positive. It means it is positive. When I put greater than 5, 6 square is 36 minus 25 is positive. What does this mean? It means domain is nothing but minus infinity to minus 5 with close brackets union 5 to infinity. Okay, let us solve another question. I have a question. F of x is equal to under root of a square minus x square where a is greater than 0. Okay, you have to find the domain. So for this function to be defined, a square minus x square should be greater or equal to 0. When a square minus x square is equal to 0, what will be the roots? X square will be equal to a square. And I will get x is equal to plus minus a. And then I plot it on the number line. Since a is greater than 0, it means a will be greater than minus a. So it's very important. Since a is greater than 0, then a will be greater than minus 1. That's why I am putting minus a on the left hand side and a on the right hand side. Okay, now there are 3 regions. This is 1 region, this is 2 region, second, and this is 3rd region. Now let's check for all of them. Let's check for 0. 0 is in between this region. So when x is equal to 0, I will get a square minus 0 is equal to 0. That it is positive. Then it is positive. And when I get less than a, less than minus a, let's suppose less than minus a, I will take x is equal to minus 2a, which is less than minus a. So I will get a square minus x is equal to minus 2a square. That is equal to a square minus minus is plus 2 to the 4a square, and it comes out to be minus 3 square, which is negative. And if you calculate at x is equal to 2a, which is lies in the region this, it also become negative. So domain is nothing but you have to take these 2 points. Why? Because these 2 points will give you the 0 value, and that is valid. So we will take from minus a to a. Now there is a question similar to this question. It is given that f of x is equal to under root of 64 minus x square. You have to find the domain. You can use the result of this. So f of x is equal to, I can write it as 8 square minus x square. Here, since 8 is greater than 0, 8 is greater than 0, this a is greater than 0, 8 is greater than 0. So I can similarly, using the result to this, I can find the domain here minus 8 to 8. Okay, it's very simple. Now, next question. The question is f of x is equal to x divided by, this is very important question, x divided by under root of x square minus 3x plus 2. Very, very important question. This is important. Actually, the 2 rules are mingled in this one question. Okay. Now, for f of x to be defined, this x square minus 3x, first of all, 2 things will happen. This x square minus 3x plus 2 should be greater or equal to 0. But then if x square minus 3x plus 2 will be equal to 0, the denominator becomes 0. That means when denominator becomes 0, it will become not defined. Therefore, we cannot take equal to. Getting me? So I am left with only one possibility, that this expression should be greater than 0. And when it is greater than 0, what will I get? Let's find the roots of this equation. X square minus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. I will get x square minus 2x minus x plus 2 is equal to 0. And I will get x into x minus 2 minus 1 into x minus 2 is equal to 0. And I will get x minus 2 into x minus 1 is equal to 0. And then I will plot, which implies x is equal to 2 comma 1. So I'll plot 1 here and 2 here. So I will get 3 regions. This is one region, second region, and so this is minus infinity to infinity. Now in this region, let's find what is the result. See, when you take x is equal to x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 2, you will get a result 0, which is not valid. So therefore these two possibilities are overruled there. X cannot take value 1 and 2. Let's check for less than 1. Let's suppose 0. When x is equal to 0, 0 square minus 3 into 0 is 0. So 2, which is greater than 0. Yes, it is positive. Now let's check in between. Let's suppose I am getting 1 by 2. 1 by 2 lies, 3 by 2. 3 by 2 is 1 by 1.5. So let's suppose at x is equal to 3 by 2. What will I get? X square, that is 3 by 2 square minus 3 into 3 by 2 plus 2. And it comes out to be 9 by 4 minus 9 by 2 plus 2. And it comes out to be 4. 9 minus 18 plus 4 to the 8. And it comes out to be minus 1 by 4, which is nothing but negative. Therefore, it comes out to be negative. And if you find for greater than 2, it will come out to be positive. Therefore, domain is nothing there but from minus infinity to 1, but in excluding 1. Union 2 excluding comma infinity. So this is the domain of the given function. Okay. Now, last question. I will discuss the last question. There is a question, f of x is equal to x square plus 5x plus 1 divided by x square minus 6x plus 8. It's very simple. For this function to be defined, the denominator should not be equal to 0. That means x square minus 6x plus 8 should not be equal to 0. If it is 0, let's suppose when x square minus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. Let's find the roots. It will become x square minus 4x minus 2x plus 8 is equal to 0. And I will get x into x minus 4 minus 2 into x minus 4 is equal to 0. And I will get x minus 4 into x minus 2 is equal to 0. Which implies I will get x is equal to 4 comma 2. So it means x can take any value but without 4 comma 2, because it makes the denominator 0. Therefore domain will be simply set of all real numbers but without 2 comma 4. So this was all about the domain, how to calculate the domain of different functions. Okay, if you like the video, please like it and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you so much.